Welcome to our new podcast. We are the Group 3, and we are here to talk about lots of things about the film The Social Dilemma. The Social Dilemma blends documentary investigation and narrative drama to disrupt the disruptors, unveiling the hidden machinations behind everyone's favorite social media and search platforms. So what do you think the impact of social media in our society, especially in terms of politics and social trends?
And we'll have Alvin to share his answer to our question.
Social media has had a profound impact on our society, so particularly in politics and social trends. So it has the power to both connect and divide people, shaping public opinion and influencing political discourse. For example, social media platforms like Facebook and TikTok have become essential tools for political campaign, so allowing candidates to engage directly with voters and mobilize support. So they have also facilitated the rapid spread of information and the organization of social movement. However, social media has also contributed to political polarization and the spread of misinformation, highlighting the need for critical thinking and media literacy in the digital age.
Thank you for that, Alvin. And now let's get on to the second question of the day.
Most of people would learn lots of things from the film. Can you give me 5 of this and explain them to our listeners?
The film, The Social Dilemma, talks about a lot of interesting facts, and what I learned from the film are: first, manipulation of the users. The film highlights how social media platforms and other online services use the algorithm to capture and hold users' attention. It's quite intriguing how this algorithm thing works. The second one is data collection. Documentary shows how the social platforms gather vast amount of personal information, including browsing habits, location data, and social connections, which can use for the targeted parties. Anybody should aware and protect their browsers and account from being accessed by anyone. The third one is filter bubbles and echo chambers, where users are exposed to content that aligns with the existing beliefs and preferences. The fourth, impact of democracy and society. The Social Dilemma emphasizes the potential threats to democracy and society posed by the manipulation of individuals and the spread of disinformation. There are lots of risks caused by it. And the last one is the ethical concerns and responsibility. The documentary raised ethical questions about the responsibility of tech companies in spreading public discourse and the potential consequences of their actions. We need to consider every little thing so that it will not go beyond morality.
Well, it looks like our friend Mareil has learned lots of interesting things from the movie. Of course, I don't know some of those terms, and I myself learned those from the movies and from her myself. I just heard those things like those bubbles, and it's as interesting as it sounds, you know? Lots of things evolved and were created through technology, and I don't know how much in depth it has surged or integrated into our society, but that's why we're here right now with our friends. So let's go furthermore and further deeper into those topics. So the third question is, this one is a good question, or rather, is it a request, I guess? Well, let's get in on it. So, for many quotes and lines in the movie. Please tell me or explain or interpret however you want one single quote from the film. Right, friend? So let's call upon Maureen Arceo. Let's take that back again, friends. So our friend Arceo Maureen is right now absent because of some circumstances. Most likely because there's an emergency right now. So I'll be the one explaining and sharing all of you about one single quote. So,
The quote that I chose is by Chaman Palihapitia, CEO of Social Capital. She said, "We curate our lives around this perceived sense of perfection because we get rewarded in these short-term signals, hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value, and we conflate it with truth. Instead, what it is fake, brittle popularity. That's short-term, and that's leave you even more, and admit it, vacant and empty before you did it. Because that enforces you into a vicious cycle where you're like, what's the next thing that I need to do now? Because I need it back. Think about that compounded by 2 billion people, then think about how then people react to them, to the perception of others. So this means social networking has shown to be a lonely and never-ending source of comparison. Shares and likes don't truly or accurately convey how much someone values you or doesn't. People across the world compare themselves to the Photoshop images they find on social media, leading them to hurt that isn't given enough attention. The world is covered in a loneliness and inadequacy that affects our ability to support one another because we are too wrapped up in our own pain to be able to help others.
well, in short, we just focus too much on what's on trend and what's not on trend, which is very, very wrong. Because in the real world, you need to look at the facts, the truth. I mean, the truth. And those false things, false idols, false beliefs, or any of those. You need to think more about what is genuine, what is real, what is in front of you. Those are the things that we should look at, and we should focus on those more than this brittle trends. Well, that was too embarrassing to share. I guess not embarrassing, but so let's continue on with our podcast, and this will be our last question for the day. So let's ask our friend Rexell about this question. Identify and analyze one key issue or point in the documentary that you saw or observed and you think is worth an analysis and discussion. Right? You got it?
I think the issue is the impact of social media on the mental health and well-being of users, especially teenagers. That features several former employees of big tech companies such as Facebook, Google, and Twitter, who reveals how these platforms use or manipulate users' behaviors, attention, and emotions. And as you can see, it also shows how social media addiction, depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicide are linked to the constant exposure to social media and the unrealistic comparison and expectation it creates. This cites various studies and statistics that show how social media use is correlated with increased rates of depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicide among teens. Also, it shows how social media can create a distorted sense of reality where users compare themselves to curated and filtered version of others' lives and feel inadequate, insecure, and unhappy. So, If I suggest a possible solution to this problem, it could be to regulate the social media industry and hold the tech companies accountable for the harms they cause to society and individuals. They should be more aware of the dangers of social media and to limit their use of it. Also, encouraging them to seek real human connection and interaction and to find healthy ways to cope with their emotions and challenges. Instead, this issue is important to analyze and discuss because it affects millions of people around the world and it has serious implications for the future of democracy, society, and humanity. I think we need to question the role and responsibility of the tech companies that create and control these and the ethical and moral implication of their actions. I also think we need to educate ourselves and others about the risks and benefits of social media and to find a balance between using it as a tool and not letting it control us. So we need to remember that we are more than our online personas and that we have the power and the choice to use social media for good or for evil.
Thank you, Rexell. That was such a very, very insightful review for that question. And we're now at the end of our podcast, right? Well, our friend certainly has smart and intelligent insights about this film. I know how informative and entertaining the movie is since we watched it all, and I agree to all what they said. There were a lot of things that the movie covered in terms of the technology, the society, and even stretches out to other aspects of the community. There were just these little concerns about why and how technology evolved and the tiny hands that was stretched out from the first born technology are now big enough to envelop our country, our world, and it's such an amazing, baffling, but horrifying thing to think about because it is just such a miraculous thing to have something envelop us. Well then, let's stop this episode of a first podcast, and I hope you really enjoyed our talks and discussions about the movie The Social Dilemma. I really hope you can also watch the movie because you will be the next one to appear in our podcast. Thank you for listening and have a good day. Edward, peace out.